and welcome back to Finding Yanis, a blog about my journey to finding and living my creative self. Before I start, I just want to say thank you to everyone for your love, comments, your support. I was actually really surprised at firstly how many people it resonated with, but then also the types of people from my life that sort of came out of the woodwork and commented and engaged with me. So you've inspired me to keep going, and here I am back again. So I was going to launch straight into more fun videos, more creative videos, but I realized that there is the elephant in the room that needs addressing before I do that, and that is creative doubt. I have struggled with creative doubt in a massive way throughout my life, and I'm only just sort of realizing how big of an impact it's had on my journey throughout my life, creatively, and also just on my career choices and what I've done with my life. So stick with me if you want to hear why I think that is, and if you want maybe some ideas around how to move through that. So after I shot and edited my first post, there was actually quite a delay between doing that and actually posting it on YouTube, and I think a lot of that has to do with the creative doubt that I've been experiencing and the confidence that comes with that. So thanks to Peter, my husband, for basically making me do it, because sometimes you do need that person to just give you the little kick to say, go on, you can do it. So thank you. But after I shot it, I sort of fell off a cliff, a big one. And, you know, I was like, oh, no one is going to care. You know, it's amateur. I mean, my editing skills definitely leave a lot to be desired, but, you know, we'll get there. But, you know, I was like, nah, this is not, you know, and if I post it, then I have to do another one. And, you know, all these things came up, and, you know, I went through quite a down period, and, you know, it was really, really difficult period actually. And then finally I was like, no, if I'm going to do something about this, I've actually got to take a step. So I sort of disassociated myself from the part of me that was saying, don't do it, it's a terrible idea, and just went, you know what, I'll just post it, but then I don't have to tell anyone it's there. And then I'll just share it on Facebook. I can always, you know, delete the post, whatever. So I kind of had an exit strategy the whole time. But anyway, it's there, it's up, and I'm back for number 2. But the whole experience really got me thinking about what happened. Like, when did I become this person that was scared to post a little video on YouTube? When did I become this person that so undervalued my creative ability and my creative skills that I just thought people would think I was silly? Like, what happened? Because I think back to my teenage years in particular, and my, you know, my young adulthood, and I had a lot more confidence than what I do now. And you would think that your confidence would grow, but no, something happened back then that has caused me to not value my creativity. And I spent a lot of time thinking about what that might be. And I thought maybe it's my family, like maybe they weren't so supportive, and I don't think it was. Like, my family was generally very supportive of my creative pursuits, and when I went off to uni to study theatre, you know, they were supportive of that. I mean, obviously any family's worried about whether you're going to be able to make a career and not go broke and have a roof over your head, of course, but, you know, there was no like, oh, you can't do that as a career. So I'm like, okay, it wasn't my family. So what was it? And then I was thinking back, and one particular thing came to my mind that I feel like it's shaped me as a creative person throughout my life. And it was my year 12 art teacher. So when I was in year 12, I did art at art, craft and design, as it was called, as a pre-tertiary subject, and I did textile art. So I did mostly wearable art, so dresses and garments and things. And my teacher at the time, his name was Philip Hawley. I don't think he got it. I just think that I wasn't fitting the mold of painting, sculpture, you know, lino cuts, whatever anyone else was doing. I wasn't doing that. I was doing nothing like any of the other students was doing. And he kept saying to me things like, you should be in sewing class, learning how to sew. And, you know, what you're just making a dress, it's not art. You know, maybe if you, I remember that he actually said to me, and like this is like more than 15 years ago now, and I still remember this. He said, if you made a dress out of teacups, then that would be art. And I remember thinking at the time, why the fuck would I want to make a dress out of teacups? Like, that is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Anyway, so I spent my whole of year 12 art trying to fit the mold of what he thought was art. You know, so I spent all this time researching wearable art and like sending him articles and going, see, what I'm doing is this. And I spent all this time, you know, trying to create we had to keep a journal and trying to create my journal into something that would be valuable to him. And, you know, at the end of the year, I ended up with about 7 different garments that I'd created. And you know, these weren't, you know, just like a dress. These were like, they were covered in paint, and one of them was made out of styrofoam, and you know, they weren't, I'll try and find some photos maybe and do another video on them, but they weren't fashion design. They were art. And what I was doing, and what I didn't realize I was doing, but what I look back now and realize, I was actually making art. I was exploring technique and process and, you know, and form, and, you know, translating an idea onto a body rather than onto a canvas. And like, my adult self knows that, but my 17-year-old self had no idea how to cope with this. And so, you know, I just, he, even with those 7 garments that I'd created, he was like, no, you're gonna fail if you submit these. So anyway, eventually I ended up doing this really, really contrived photographic series of the dresses in these like everyday kind of situations and submitting that. And I don't even remember what my mark was, but it wasn't spectacular. So, you know, I think from that, I really took that on board as a young person and really went, what I'm creating has no value. And then that idea seeded in my mind and grew from there. And so, you know, and then as an adult, it's just become one of the lies that we tell ourselves that we believe. So I was watching this great video from a guy called Dr. Joe Dispenza recently, and he talks about, you know, why people stay, you know, why people find it so hard to change when they, you know, are in a depressive period, or, you know, have, you know, anything that they're not happy with in their lives. And it's actually because our bodies want to stay in homeostasis. And so when we start to change things, our body actually fights back and says no. So even trying to fight back, my body would go, no, your creative ideas are rubbish and, you know, you've got no creative value. And so I've just believed that for my whole life. So, you know, when I started thinking about, well, I'm starting with my wardrobe. I started in the last post of my wardrobe. It actually harks back to my love of textiles and wearable art and expressing yourself through the body. So here I am. But one of the great things that was in the Dr. Joe Dispenza video was a very simple concept that I really took away and I really like. And I've really been using this over the last couple of weeks to really try and get myself out of that mindset. And he said, just because you have a thought, it doesn't mean it's true. So if it's not true, then it must be a lie. So I thought, well, I am going to share with you some of the lies that I have told myself about my own creativity over my lifetime. So I've got them written down here. So here they go, here they are. No one will be interested. People will think I'm self-indulgent. It's already been done. It's not worth anything. You can't make money with creativity. Fashion, clothes, textiles, it's not art, it's just fluff. If you want to be a serious artist, you have to do actual art. You need a real job. Creative work is just a hobby. You don't have the technical skills to create anything that's worth selling. You're too old, you've missed the boat. It's too hard. I would have to spend all my time doing business management and marketing, and I wouldn't get any time to be creative. It's a shit idea. What if I end up hating it? Best to just keep it as a hobby. Lies. All lies. So I'm glad we've got to the bottom of that, because now we can move on. I do just want to take this opportunity to say a big fuck you to Philip Hawley, because I do believe that he, as a teacher, had the power to change the way I viewed myself creatively. And whilst obviously that's not the be all and end all, and there's many other things throughout my life that have brought me to where I am now, I think teachers have such a responsibility to their students to not kill their creative talent or creative or whatever talent, and like just nurture it, people. So I'm sure I'm not the only one who's been telling themselves lies about their own creative worth. So I would love in the comments for you to share what yours are. Maybe spend a bit of time thinking about it, journaling, but just, I don't know, this week take a moment when you feel yourself going, oh, I can't do that. Think, hang on, is that true? Is it not true? Maybe it's just a lie I've been telling myself. And please share it with me. Let's all get our lies out in the open so we can all move on together. So now we've got that out of the way, we can move on to the fun stuff. I have a really great video planned next. As I said, I'm starting with my wardrobe on this creative journey, and I'm actually going to go back a little bit further and look at my grandmother's wardrobe and my mother's wardrobe, because they have some great things from their past that I know you're gonna love. So thank you for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already. I would love to be able to keep in touch with you. And if there's somebody in your life that you feel like is telling themselves some creative lies, please just give it a share. Maybe we can encourage some more people to embrace their own creative worth. Thanks for watching and see you next time.